On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, we are talking about the Broncos' dominant win over the Bengals. We're going to look at the offense and the defense and talk about did the Broncos solve their problems on the offensive side of the ball with everything we saw yesterday. Plus, we got Super Bowl 50 champ Bennie Fowler breaking down the film. It all starts now. Victory Monday on the DNVR Broncos podcast. Victory Tuesday on the DNVR Broncos podcast. That's why we got Super Bowl 50 champ Bennie Fowler rocking and rolling with us live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your local Front Range Toyota stores and presented by Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up. Place a $5 bet. After depositing $10, use that code DNVR365 and you get $200 in bonus bets when you sign up. Fellas, how we feeling on this Victory Tuesday?
I feel pretty good. I think there is a lot of positivity in the city right now. I think the airways are more positive. It was great to see. The film looked really good from what I watched this morning. So I'm feeling pretty good, but like only for once we're done with this show, it's like on to the Eagles. And this is a short week. You fly to Philadelphia on Friday and you have to handle this game. Like, great that got the win, convincing win, but now you're heading to Philly, and you're playing Super Bowl champs.
How quickly do you move on in the building? Like, it is Tuesday morning.
Yeah. They've already moved on.
They're on.
They're already
so
moved
it's
on.
Not the Monday after a game where they review the film and focus on the game that day.
They'll watch the film today, but it'll be quick.
Okay.
We blew this team out. They'll probably highlight some of the things that they missed. So they'll rewatch the RJ Harvey seam route, and they'll talk about that. They'll talk about some of the protection things. They'll talk about the penalties and things that need to be fixed and cleaned up. And then, get what you need type of treatment. Get what you need in the football building means like, get your treatment, rest your body up because you gotta probably have a walkthrough tomorrow or put your first and second down game plan in. So you have to move on. The coaches have probably already moved on because you have to game plan. You're losing a day, so they probably already moved on.
So not a great week to be coming off Monday Night Football, going to Philadelphia. I hadn't that part hadn't crossed my mind. I was so focused on just that Bengals game. Not the time that you want to have a short week.
Yeah, it's all right though.
You think so?
Yeah, because you fly on Friday. I'd be a little concerned if they were flying on Saturday to play an 11 a.m. game on Sunday. But Sean, been doing this for a while, flies on Friday, which I think is super important. Sean will make sure these guys are healthy and fresh. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty positive about this. But, I think you put it behind you, and now it's what do we have to do to beat Philly?
Well, and I'll tell you what, that was about as dominant of a performance as you can get. We're going to start looking at Philly maybe later on in the show or tomorrow. But, guys, it was dominant across the board. Broncos had more first downs by 20. They beat them by 29 to 9 first downs. Yards, 512 to 159. First downs, Broncos were at 57%. The Bengals were at 18%. Rushing yards, Broncos were at 186. The Bengals at 53. Passing yards, 326 for the Broncos, 106 for the Bengals. And, of course, we know points, 28 to 3. This is as dominant of a win as you can realistically have in the NFL, and we're going to break it down on today's show, but take you behind the scenes a little bit. Sean Payton, because today was a little bit of a different day, coming off a Monday night late game, Sean Payton pushed his press conference to 20 seconds from now. So I'm going to jump off. I'm going to let you guys handle the show for a little minute. When I hear from Sean, then come back and report to you.
Sean
and
might
join the
have
show.
you. Sean's feeling pretty good. He might have you stay on this phone for 45 minutes.
I'm gonna guess the
that's
opposite.
very true.
I'm calling stress Sean today. This is not good vibe Sean. This is attacking short, sharp Sean. Short week
because he doesn't have time.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna jump off. And I'll see you in a minute.
All right, cool.
All right. Well, the show is ours.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about this jumbo package. And
Let's
I think
do it.
so.
Before we jump into jumbo, I'd love to ask you a question.
Okay.
Over the last couple of years, do you think this is Sean's most impressive win? Obviously, you had New Orleans last year, but is this
Atlanta last year too.
Yeah.
It's right up there.
Yeah.
There aren't many that you would circle. I think it's tough to compare these blowouts because they're kind of like what flavor of blowout are you looking for? I mean, this is the most yards they've had. Defense didn't let the Bengals get across midfield after that first drive. And I think those couple things you could look at and say it could be this one. You could also say one of those blowouts last year, did they get off to a hotter start? You know, was it different than this one where you give up the field goal drive and then you have the 3 and out and you're like, wait a second. You know, so it wasn't quite the 60 minutes of dominance, but you did get like 54 minutes of dominance, and it was really dominant in that stretch.
I think this is Sean's best overall performance team-wise, offense, defense, special teams. And to your point, Hank, I think the defense not letting Cincinnati get past the 50-yard line for however many quarters during that game is one reason, but then the 512 yards of offense, I think, is another thing. The mirroring of the run game, the way J.K. looked, the way R.J. looked, the way Courtland looked, but then also even the plays that didn't hit, there were still open guys. Or, hey, you know, we dropped a pass here or there. So I think everything offensively looked like Bo had an answer and Sean had the answer. You know, you think about the 3rd and 5, they do all-out zero blitz, and Bo sees the pressure right away, puts great arc and touch on it. R.J. Harvey scores. You think about Bo on 3rd and 5 at the beginning of the game. They play zone and play like a fence coverage, and he recognizes that and then runs for the touchdown. Marvin Mims, the jet sweep. They just scored so many different ways, and then Courtland on the seam route.
The 2-minute drill.
2-minute drill.
Beautiful.
Whole shot. So there were just so many different things that I thought were executed really well, and that's why I think it's the best performance so far, coaching-wise, of all the blowouts that they've had. This was the most convincing one to me.
Also has to be the most catches by tight ends in a game in a very long time.
Yeah.
And there were potential for more.
4 for Evan.
4 for Evan. Adkins had at least 2. Troutman had 2 or 3 at least. Yeah. They put up a pretty big number there.
Yeah.
But also the jumbo package.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Which is, so the reason why it's so fun, and the reason why I think it's so important now is that the fans are into it. So for those who don't know, we talked about this a little bit last night. Every time Alex Palshevsky is going into the game and reporting is eligible, they have to announce it, and the crowd goes crazy. And like that's why there's people in chat now with the Palcho chants, all that sort of stuff. That's pretty cool. And for those, again, the way it works is essentially when you bring that extra lineman into a game, technically he's like a tight end.
Yep.
But because he's wearing number 63, you can't throw him the ball, even though he's a tight end, which is a position you can throw the ball to. But if 63 tells the ref, hey, I'm playing tight end essentially here, then he says, okay, you are an eligible receiver, has to announce it so the defense is prepared, and the crowd gets to hear too. Last night, Palcho was on the field for 16 snaps. I think 13 of them as that extra jumbo lineman. That's a lot for a team in one game.
That's a lot, and what I love about it is that Sean is not afraid to let everybody know we're running the ball right here. Try and stop it.
Yep.
And being on this offense, I forgot who we used to do it with in New Orleans, but we used to do this a lot with Kamara and Latavius Murray. Hey, we're going to get up in this jumbo personnel, heavy personnel, and we are going to run right at you and try to stop it. So I love that the fact that Sean committed to that. I think it's important for me to say, and just for us to continue to acknowledge that Broncos country actually might be the smartest actual football fans.
Yes.
Like, people don't just go to the game to cheer and get hammered off of, Coors Lights.
Right.
Broncos fans are really into it. And I think the Pacho chance is going to catch on. And I think that's going to catch on. If Sean ever goes back to just being too pass happy, I think Broncos country is going to chant Pacho, Pacho. And that's going to get him to run the ball. So I thought that was really good. Shout out to Pacho and the way that he played yesterday. And shout out to Sean for just committing to the run, though. I think that's important. You know, we questioned and we talked about Sean and gave him a lot of grief last week, but I thought he called a really solid game yesterday. I thought he helped calm Bo down, and he found different ways to get these running backs the ball. But I love the jumbo set.
I love it too.
I love the jumbo set. Does Pacho catch a touchdown this year?
I think
or
so.
First down?
I think so. So hit the run stuff. I want to think about that one for a second because I'm conflicted in a lot of ways about that. I pulled the numbers. Paltrow was on the field for 12 runs yesterday, 4.8 yards per carry. Median run was 4 yards. So it's not just that like one explosive run kind of skewed things. It's that you're pretty consistently getting a decent gain. Only one run didn't go for positive yards. That's when RJ Harvey tried to get the edge down by the goal line and picked up 0 yards.
Yep.
There were a couple runs for 1 yard. One of them was one of the holding calls, so it didn't actually count. But things went well when they did that, which was a twist from the Chargers game. When we talked about it a little bit, they would go jumbo. Chargers matched that with the run blitz. And Derwin James is getting back there and just creating chaos. And they came up with a couple little change-ups for that. They gave the exact same look and assigned the fullback to go get him. They had some answers to those calls. I'm curious to see if those answers keep coming. The Bengals don't blitz. I believe they still haven't called a first quarter blitz yet this season.
The Bengals haven't?
Yeah, which means that, again, if you're giving them the tell, like there's a 90% chance that we're about to run the ball here, they're not a team that takes advantage of that like others do, which is why there's a little reason for hesitation. But 4.8 yards per carry, when you're putting the big boys in, that's a big number.
Yeah, it's a huge number. And I think, the first 4 weeks of the season, you're trying to get a feel for who you are, your identity. And I think that if you have to run the Chargers game back, which the Broncos pretty much led until the last part of the game, I think the Broncos will have the answers for that rematch now.
I think so, too.
And I think that's one of the best parts about the season. That's one of the best parts about playing division opponents is that, okay, the Chargers did have a counter to that. Derwin James blitzing when we are in those heavy run formations, but now we know the counter to that, and now we know how to attack it, even if we want to keep the run on. I think also what's super important about this is that, hey, we are going to keep the running backs in there. So, hey, we're not going to do these wholesale changes. I saw Courtland out on the field a ton and just kind of stand out there. Which I think is super important. Like, hey, let's not always put Trent Sherfield in on the must run downs. Like, no, let's keep our receivers out there. And Troy Franklin, he's a capable blocker. Marvin, he will try. So, I think we'll have the counters to that now, especially when we play the Chargers the next time.
Right. And I love what you say about identity. That was the last story I wrote. Go to DNVR.com. There's all sorts of good stuff up there. There's a sale going on. Sign up so you can read all of our stuff. But that was the one that I thought, like, right before the game, this is the story. Can you finally find your identity? Like, can you figure out what it is that you do? Going jumbo that many times and it working as well as it did and the fans getting into it, I don't know that I'm willing to say, like, yep, they found their identity. It's that. You're within a couple of weeks of this working that you can say, okay, it's downhill running. We're going to out-physical you in the trenches. Offensive line's going to set up 3-yard gains, and Dobbins is going to turn those into 6-yard gains. You're close, I think, to finding that identity.
I think that is the identity.
You're right. Say it. Okay.
I think you're right. I think they've already found it. This is something that they've tried to do pretty much the last 3 games. I don't recall the Tennessee game, but this is something that we definitely saw with the Colts, more so with the Chargers, and definitely last night, that, hey, I think this also helps Sean as a play caller. When it's jumbo personnel, he knows, like, hey, like I'm committing to the run, and I think it really helps him out as a play caller. So I think that is their identity. We have a capable running back, somebody who has incredible vision. Shout out to JK for the way that he created these running lanes yesterday and the way that he got through them. But then also RJ, I think after bouncing it out and going east-west, he knew to go back to fundamentals and his principles of north and south. He tried doing that in the preseason. Then you saw him correct himself and go back north and south, and I think we got a chance to see that yesterday. So I think the Broncos do have their identity, which is to be a physical smash mouth, 4 yards, 3 to 4 yards in a cloud of dust type of team, set up things for third and short, and Bo can use his legs. We saw Courtland get in on the quick game yesterday. We saw Marvin. We just saw a whole bunch of we got to see the Broncos use all the weapons finally,
including all those tight ends.
If
you were looking for more Nate Adkins, boy, did you get it.
Yeah, so
all right.
Yeah.
We got a couple more notes here actually, but first got to give a shout out to our friends of the Broncos as well. Common Spirit. Common Spirit is awesome. Especially so for athletes in particular. You know, like I said, they partner the Broncos practice at their facility named for Common Spirit. And if you're an athlete, you're a weekend warrior, you love to move, whatever it may be. If you've got sports injury or chronic pain that may be caused from that, actually, the Common Spirit Mountain Region is home to an incredible sports medicine program. And they actually have a new sports center, Common Spirit Health in Parker, which is an awesome opportunity. You know, a lot of people out here get active. Skiers, people don't know. I come from a lineage of Olympic skiers.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
incredible.
And those poor people have very bad knees. And so whatever you may be dealing with, sports related, you can head over there to that new facility in Parker. Qualified, passionate providers. They specialize in diagnosis, treatment, prevention of sports-related injuries for all athletes, including, of course, the Denver Broncos. Experts understand the unique demands for athletes, the treatment plans you need, physical therapy, prevention strategies, all that. Preventative care is just as important as fixing what's broken. So don't let an injury keep you on the bench. Even better, get proactive about your health. For more information, visit mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health, official healthcare partner of the Denver Broncos. Also, want to give a shout out to our friends at Game Time. My girlfriend was there with a bunch of her friends last night. Tickets got a lot cheaper when Joe Burrow got hurt and continued to get cheaper as the game got closer. So that's what Game Time's all about, is waiting up until game time. They give you great deals. People panic, can't sell their tickets, sell them cheap right before. That's what Game Time is all about. But regardless, you know, there's some things. My mom and a few of her friends are coming down for the Cowboys game end of October. We also want to go to the first Nuggets home game against the Suns. That's one where, you know, dealing with some older people, they just like to have the tickets settled and ready to go. And Game Time has the best prices. Not only that, they guarantee that they have the best prices. Game Time is the best. Everybody works here. That's where we go to pick up our tickets. Been using it for forever. Have gotten to so many different events through Game Time. Their ticket coverage is awesome. You get to see a seat view in the app. The zone deals pop up. Fees are included, so you know exactly what you're paying when you just look at the map. You can take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets or any other tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Tap ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right. So we're talking about this identity a little bit. You talked about the substitutions. One of the biggest changes I think that offense made last night is that they were giving running backs drives.
Yep.
And the running backs really liked that. J.K. Dobbins, you put him in for the first play. He gets hot. He stays out there. And there are a couple drives that feel like they were defined by J.K. Dobbins' presence. R.J. Harvey never quite got as hot as J.K. did, but had his moments, had his stretches. They aren't just going to say this is your drive, we're going to go with it. There's situational things, some changes they might make on a third and long, whatever it may be. But I love that change, and I think a big reason why J.K. was able to get into the rhythm he got into is because they just gave him the ball and let him get hot.
100%. You know, shout out to Sean, and just maybe he watched the pod because we talked about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, rhythm, timing. Shout out to my folks at Williams Jewelers. You know, timing is important.
Yes.
And rhythm is important. When
Yes.
you as a player, as a former player, I loved when I got a drive. Now, when I was playing receiver, I was always the third receiver, splitting time. Shout out to Jordan Norwood and Cody Latimer and Bubba Caldwell. So, but the coach would give us, Coach Tyke, our receiver coach, would give us different drives so we could actually get the feel of the game. You get the feel of the game, you get the feel of who you're going against. And I think that's really important for especially the running backs. You know, they got to feel the speed of the game. They got to get comfortable. And that makes them play more confident. And I think that is something that's going to be a positive over time.
Yep.
Especially also, JK, I think it's very important. But RJ, for a younger player, you don't want to take him in and out, like because he's used to, especially coming from college, he used to being out there the entire time,
Right.
and he's used to being the go-to guy. So I think rhythm and timing is very important. So I'm glad that Sean did that. I hope he continues to do that. And then you had a nice little change of pace when Tyler Bidet came in there on the 2-minute,
Right.
and became your pass catching back. So it's not Brother Caldwell, it's Bubba Caldwell, Andre
Yes.
Caldwell.
And final piece of that, Sean did say it helped with the play calling.
I bet.
Because he knew which running back was in there when he was calling the play. It's not just up to the running backs coach. Oh, look who it is.
Zach is back. The Zach attack.
I'm back, baby. Let's go. What I missed.
Anything interesting?
Oh, there were two interesting
Really?
things that kind of stood out. Actually, three. Do we need to hit a break? Or are we ready to rock and roll? Okay, so the first one was Sean's final answer. So he was asked, now we're on to the Eagles. It's about the tush push. You guys think Sean's a fan of it or no? Just knowing Sean,
Yes.
what do you think?
I don't think.
You hear saying he voted against it.
I think he voted to keep it.
Henry saying he voted to keep it. Benny, you have any feelings one way or the other?
I think Sean, the way he approaches things is that leave the Eagles, don't get to 3rd and 4th and 1, and you won't have to worry about it.
I heard from someone in the building. I asked him about the tush push in week 1 because I think the Eagles played on national television. And I texted someone in the building and said, like, how do you stop this thing? And they responded to me by saying, you don't get in 3rd and short position.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Right.
it. No, I wasn't texting Sean there. So we found out his official position on it today. He said he's in favor of it. And in those meetings, he said he was one of the few people that stood up in Philly's defense, said he's on Philly's side. And here was a fun thing. Can we say the word BS on this show you hear? Yeah, we're allowed to. Okay, so he said, okay, I'm not going to say that then. So he said when he was in those meetings and the health and safety committee got brought in to talk about how it's a dangerous play, he said, quote, my BS nose kind of went up because he said that's one of the safest plays in the NFL. He said it's just a quarterback sneak.
Yeah.
And just because it's a play that teams can't stop doesn't mean that it shouldn't be allowed. So
Well, they can't. They don't officiate it well.
I completely
Yes.
agree. Completely agree.
It's going to be taken out this year or after this year.
It will be.
The case from the doctors was, sure, nobody's gotten hurt from it yet, but everybody has their head down. When somebody does get hurt for it, it's going to be a serious injury.
Yeah, very fair.
And nobody bought it. But I mean, those are the
Well,
doctors
Sean,
that the Packers
Sean
whoever
said his
brought in.
BS nose went
Yeah,
up. in
no,
that.
it's stupid.
You can get hurt. You can get hurt just tackling somebody the
Right.
same way. So
Right.
I don't want to hear about the health and safety protocol for the tush push play.
So that was one thing. Sean's in favor of that, and the Broncos are certainly going to see that over and over and over again this week, and it's going to be very frustrating. We'll see if the Broncos can be the first team to ever stop it consistently. The second thing was I asked him about Riley Moss, and he said he played, quote, outstanding. He said he had one of his better games, and he responded to the challenge and the response from last year. And then he also added he was fantastic. So he just praised Riley Moss like crazy, and Riley Moss deserves that. I don't know if you guys talked about Riley Moss's numbers yet.
Oh, yeah.
He targeted 6 times, only allowed 2 completions for 30 yards. Incredible response for Riley there. So 100%, especially, man, people were crushing Riley at the beginning of the game. I mean, it was like he was going to allow
did
T
give
to
up
go
one
off
catch.
for
Yep.
ready, but it was people were acting like he was going to allow T to go off for 150 yards again. No, Riley was great. And Sean had his back. And then the final thing, the very first question that Sean was asked was about his respect and how he approaches a Vic Fangio defense, because he knows Vic really well. And obviously they've got crazy history together. Benny, I don't know if you know this. When Sean Payton became the head coach of the Broncos, Sean wanted to hire Vic to be his defensive coordinator. And Vic was offered the job. And Vic just thought it was too soon to return to Denver. The media, the fans, the players in the building, and how they would view him, because he was a head coach just a year before that. So he just thought it would be too awkward. So he went down to Miami and then left after 1 year, and now has been obviously very successful with the Eagles. But Sean, when he was talking about this, I just found this funny because he was given all the credit in the world to Vic, and then goes, I don't even remember the last time I played him and then immediately just change directions, went a different direction. Do you know the last time Sean played Vic Fangio?
I do.
Was that
I'll give you a hint.
70-20?
That was.
That's it. That's it. So Sean's racking his brain. He's like, man, I don't, because he's like reminiscing on good things about Vic. He's like, I don't even remember the last. You can tell the light bulb went off in his head. And he's like, nope, not talking about that. Moving in a different direction here. So obviously, it's not like Vic had the most incredible game. It was more like the Mike McDaniels had the incredible game. But yeah, that was the last time the Broncos played Vic Fangio.
Well, I mean, different quarterback situation. We're not gonna.
The Eagles have a better quarterback situation.
Do they?
Oh, the Broncos.
Yeah.
The Broncos.
The Broncos,
I don't know
yeah,
if the
yeah.
Eagles have a better quarterback situation. They
I
passed
don't know
for
either.
They had
Stop. No.
2022
no,
Tua?
no.
Or 2023 Tua? At the time, he was kind of lighting them up.
They put 70 points on the Broncos, number one.
Yes,
Look,
one game.
Jalen Hurts is obviously a Super Bowl winning quarterback. All the respect for him. But they had -1 total yards last week. What are we talking about?
He's a
Right.
and did they win?
Stop it.
No, did they win?
-1 yard.
How many quarterbacks are undefeated this year?
Stop it. -1 yard.
How many quarterbacks are undefeated?
Come
I'm
on.
just
Well,
asking you.
No
fair,
passing yards.
To be fair, Tua was also undefeated when he beat the Broncos, and that offense led the NFL in yards, was second in points. Part of that because of what the Broncos let him do. But I mean, that was at the time that was the very peak for Tua. This is a big lull for Jalen.
Oh my gosh! And the Toyota chat's buying what you guys are saying. This is
They're
absolutely.
not buying. That's their own thoughts.
This is absolutely insane. This is insane. Jalen Hurts is the 5th best quarterback in the NFL.
Name the 4 in front of him.
Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
when healthy. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and that was 4. Yeah.
Matthew Stafford, Jared
Justin
Goff,
Herbert looks pretty good.
Baker Mayfield. Did we say Justin Herbert
And
yet?
again, this is like top 5 in like a big picture, not just like a who do you want this week. It's big picture. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
He's not top 10.
Yes, he is.
Not
Yes, he
passing
is.
for no yards.
Not
Not passing for no yards in the second
Quarterback
half.
does a lot more than just throw the ball, especially these days.
That's what you get paid to do.
Yeah.
No, you get paid to win games, win Super Bowls, have like an incredible record.
I'm going to need that contract restructured for him.
Squat 700 pounds
So you're talking
you
about
can
all
have
the
the most unstoppable play in the NFL. You guys are crazy.
This is unbelievable.
I don't think the Broncos are going to be looking over Jalen Hurts like you two are right now.
We're not looking.
crazy.
We're not looking over him. That's just a fact.
What would
0
AJ Brown say about him?
Nothing.
Yeah.
AJ Brown would say, "Thank you for my Super Bowl ring, my massive contract."
Oh.
AJ
Obviously,
Brown.
there's a little
He's
bit of
not. He's not
frustration
thanking
right
Jalen
now.
Hurts for that massive contract.
Big reason he got it.
Or the way he played in Tennessee is the reason why he got it.
He was traded after his rookie year, right? No, after
No.
a couple of years.
Yeah, after a couple of years, after him killing it in Tennessee.
I think, yeah. Thank you, Mar. This is only saying, okay, actually, no. We got some more sanity in the chat right now. South Jersey Life says Jalen Hurts is a top 3 quarterback. Going even further than I was going to. Mar says he's a top 10 quarterback. Stop it. Wow. Apparently, we need to really dive into this conversation continuing this week. And I know, so right now we got 2 Jalen Hurts haters.
I'm not a hater.
One support.
I respect Jalen Hurts as a winner, but I mean, look, I'm also a receiver. I understand. Well, actually, I don't understand because I've never been a number 1 receiver. So
You've seen
I've never been a number 2 either. So, but what I will
Hey,
say,
neither have I, Bennie.
hey, but what I will say is that I know where AJ Brown is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, bro, I'm catching 4 passes for 25, 30 yards. They're comparing me. I have the same skill set as a Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson. I have that elite, dynamic playmaking ability. I want the ball, but my quarterback can't give me the ball. I have a real problem with that because
You're 4-0 though. If you're 0-4, 1-3, then sure, I get that.
You're thinking now like everybody thinks like that.
As
people
you
don't-
should.
No.
If you're a good teammate.
Maybe he's not.
Well, sure.
Maybe for millions of
then I
dollars,
want to
you-
defend
yeah.
AJ Brown.
Why not?
If the reason
AJ
is
Brown
because he's
has
not
a-
a good teammate, if he's
AJ
putting himself over his teammates, then I don't
AJ
want
Brown.
that guy.
AJ Brown has a job to do just like you do and just like I do. AJ Brown is one of the top paid people at his position. they're going to look at his stats upstairs and be like, hey, you know what? We're going to ask you to take a pay cut. And you know what? He's going to be like, I was open on these plays. I didn't get the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But now he'll have to take the pay cut. Even though they're winning games, Jalen Hurts is going to get the contract extension. That's a real problem for me as I think about generational wealth and having more money, especially when I know I have the ability to while I'm in my prime.
Right.
Well, then if that's the case, and let's say that, because I think there were some flare-ups with AJ last year in the middle of the season, and then those obviously went away when games did break out into big passing games, and he got his, and then they went on to win the Super Bowl. Yep. So I wouldn't be surprised if that exact same thing happens. Hopefully it's not this week, but in a couple of weeks, the passing game could break out. They win another Super Bowl, but let's say it does get to that point, and the front office asks him to take a pay cut, or let's say when he gets to the negotiating table for his next contract and he says, I want this, and they say, well, your stats aren't that, then that's when he says, fine, I'm out of here. And then he goes somewhere else to get those numbers.
His value might be down by then. He'll have turned 31. Once you turn 30, it's a wrap.
Not for some people. Courtland Sutton's about to turn 30. Don't tell me he's about to go downhill.
He already got his deal.
So did AJ Brown.
No, he needs more, Zach. And also we're talking. This is something that I learned from playing with really good players, top players. They're also playing for Pro Bowls, All Pros, and Hall of Fame. Yeah. Now I don't know if AJ Brown is on a Hall of Fame trajectory, but that's what some of these guys are playing for now after they win Super Bowls.
If he had Tua as his quarterback, how good he would be.
If he was in that 2023 offense. Real quick, one thing. So the fact that Nick Sirianni came out yesterday and said AJ Brown's cryptic tweets do not mean that he wants to leave, great sign for Eagles country. They've got to be feeling good after that one.
Yeah, there you go.
Nick Sirianni says he's just fine. Those tweets didn't mean what you think.
I think Jalen Hurts is doing more than fine as a quarterback right now.
I had a chance to have dinner with Jalen Hurts. We had dinner.
Flex.
No, not a flex. We were celebrating Draymond's birthday in New York, and Jalen Hurts was there. And he's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Really cool guy, and nothing but respect for him. Quarterback is the hardest position in sports, in all the sports to play. But I just know the receiver. I've been around receivers who want the ball and who are playing for something beyond just Super Bowls, and they got it. And I think a couple days after the Super Bowl, I think he said, like, this is definitely not what I thought. I'm going back to work, because he's looking to achieve something else. It's a fleeting feeling. So he wants 100 catches a year, and he has that ability too.
Off the football field, is Jalen what he seems like on the field? Just like zero emotion. In a good, not in a good or bad way. I think
he's just very intentional. That's what I would say. He was very intentional. It was a really great conversation. There's some things that I won't say in terms of what he told me about the locker room, but I just don't feel like this is the right medium to. I'll tell you guys off air.
And hopefully you were on the side of the table he was talking to, because we know he's not going to look to one side and then work all the way back to the other side.
Well, I hope you keep this up tomorrow, Henry, because you're going to be outnumbered tomorrow, because I know Ryan also believes that Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback, and the Broncos are going to have their hands full.
I believe that for sure.
As well. And hopefully Riley and Pat play the same way they did on Monday Night Football. All right, let's get to the inside scoop, because Bennie, I love everything you say about football outside of your take on Jalen Hurts. Okay? And so I can't wait to hear your breakdown of Monday Night Football, and let's do that after I give a shout out to our friends over at Bet365. Well, the Broncos are turning the page just like that on this, and let's turn the page to this coming week. And if you want to get in on the action, use the code DNVR365 when you sign up for Bet365. Deposit $10, place a $5 bet, and you're going to get $200 in bonus bets when you sign up. And guys, we got football in just over 48 hours. We got the 49ers going into Los Angeles. The Rams right now 5.5-point favorites. That one is a crazy game. And then you get to wake up on Sunday morning with football at 7:30 a.m. when the Vikings play the Browns. The Vikings are 3.5-point favorites. And if we're looking at this Broncos line, Broncos are 3.5-point dogs. I love that you get the hook on the Broncos. You get a field goal, and Broncos keep within a field goal. You are going to win money over at Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 when you sign up, and make sure to deposit $10, place a $5 bet, and you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. Win or lose. Must be 21 and older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
And shout out to End Credit Union. End Credit Union's the best. I've said it before, but my drive in here every day, I go right past that big Pat Surtain End Credit Union mural. Just get you in the mood for talking some Broncos. End Credit Union's the best. And they're the best for Broncos fans in particular. If you want, you can sign up for their Broncos checking account, which comes with so many different perks, including earning interest, all of that, 10% off food and gear on game days. Best part might be, has Bo Nix on the front. So wherever you go, wherever you swipe it, you get to swipe with Bo Nix on your mind. Just like I have Pat Surtain on my mind whenever I drive by that mural. Every 15 times you swipe it, you get another chance to win home tickets for a Broncos game. If you're ready to bank like a Bronco, then it's time to head over to ent.com/DNVR. That's ent.com/DNVR to learn more. Insured by NCUA, membership required, account requires associated Ent Broncos debit card.
Not only is today a Victory Tuesday, it's also Taco Tuesday, and we have a cameo from our friend RK to celebrate Taco Tuesday.
All right, Taco Tuesday here at DNVR, and we've got the Cantina menu today. I actually have never had any of this stuff, so I'm excited to try it. We're starting with the Cantina chicken burrito. Let's see, let's give this a little bite. Okay, so you got like all sorts of fresh ingredients here. A little like shredded cabbage, nice slow roasted chicken in there. That's delicious. I'll be finishing that later. Let's move on to the crispy chicken taco. Got some melted cheese on the outside. Love to see that. I think we got the same slow roasted chicken here. Wow. That's actually elite. That is actually elite. And then last one, I think we're going chicken Cantina soft taco. Similar vibe. Where's my hot sauce? Gotta have the hot sauce. Really gotta go fire sauce, but we're making concessions today. Fantastic as well. I gotta go with this one though. If I'm going with my favorite, crispy chicken Cantina taco. That is incredible. Happy Taco Tuesday, my friends.
And as Ryan said, that's the new Cantina chicken menu, which you can get over at Taco Bell. Cool thing about Taco Bell, not only do they have that, they got the $7 Buffs box with 4 Taco Bell classics, including a large drink with a CU Buff player collectible cup. And they are a proud sponsor of CU Athletics and will be donating $1,000 to the Golden Buffalo Scholarship Foundation. So celebrate Taco Tuesday by getting yourself over to Taco Bell. And I'm going to celebrate Victory Tuesday by going over to my friend Bennie Fowler to break down the film on the Inside Scoop. Presented by Ent Credit Union. Go to Ent Credit Union to get that credit card that Henry was talking about with Bo Nix on it. And with that debit card, you're going to get 10% off over at Empower Field a Mile High on game day. And you're also, every 15 swipes, you're going to get a chance to earn tickets to a Broncos game. So shout out to Ent Credit Union for bringing us the Inside Scoop. Go to ent.com/DNVR, or that's ent.com/DNVR to get signed up. Without further ado, let's get to the Inside Scoop.
Let's do it, man. I thought the Broncos offense played really well. I thought there were some opportunities that they took advantage of. I think on 3 of the touchdowns that the Broncos scored on, it was on third down. So high third down conversion rate. That's something you love to see. We're starting with this first touchdown where Bo ends up scrambling. Got Troy Franklin working the back end line. You got Courtland coming on the shallow. Marvin on a little delay. And then you got, who's 45?
Nate Atkins.
Nate Atkins
My
on
guy.
the corner. On the corner route. Bengals end up playing some zone coverage right here. And I thought Bo did a great job with his feet, eyes. You will see also something to point out. Just little things like this. The little motion to put RJ out here gives Bo a great read. It gives him a great read of if this is man or zone. If that linebacker ends up coming out here and playing some type of coverage, you know you got man. So I thought that was super important. These little details will continue to help Bo, help him see the field more. The Broncos motioned on 35% of their plays last night, which I think is super important to give the quarterback the man zone tell. But little things like this, I think, go a long way.
Why do more teams not do that?
I think a lot of teams do
They
it.
do.
The top teams in the league are great with motion. You know, Kansas City, the Rams, Green Bay. I feel like Dallas motions almost on every play. And, they're the top yards per game in the league right now. So I would say the top offenses do that a lot.
And
So then why doesn't every offense do it? Is what my question should have been.
Depends on if your quarterback has enough cachet to really handle the motions, the shifts. That's a lot of terminology. San Francisco does it well, but it's a lot of terminology. And if you're not that type of play caller, it depends on where you come from in terms of the coaching tree that you come from. It really, that's what it really matters,
Yeah.
So.
And when
makes
Bill
sense.
Belichick was asked why he didn't do that, he says because you have to be careful of what you're telling the defense by motioning. Because if you're trying to get the man zone read, then you're telling the defense we're curious about this. Now, he could be bluffing, but a lot of the time you wind up telling them they lean pass.
Yeah.
At least according to Bill.
But then wouldn't you just do it every play? So then they don't know if it's run or pass?
That'd be a lot. And some teams do. The Rams do.
Yeah.
Not everybody.
I think it really depends.
just always
Also,
wondered.
It just takes timing.
I think also Tom, when Bill and Tom were playing together or coaching together, I think Tom was really good in shotgun.
Right.
And then he had receivers like a Wes Welker or Julian Edelman who were great at option routes.
And he probably didn't need to tell. He could probably tell for himself.
But right here, you got Courtland on the shallow. You got Nate Atkins on the corner. The little delay. A lot of people, I think, Bo, if he does hang on to this ball a little bit more, you will see Courtland come open in this area. They're trying to pass it off. Courtland actually ends up popping open, but they're playing zone right here. You can see this fence right here across the goal line. And I thought Bo did a really good job with his feet. This is where you want to see this ball right here thrown if you have that opportunity. But there's also a lot of opportunity to run. Look at that pocket that Bo can step up into. Can either go here where he ends up scoring or here. So I thought Bo did a really good job with his eyes yesterday, for the most part, with his feet in the pocket.
Yeah.
And he ends up scoring. And this is what you love to see.
Yeah, and that was just a huge thing, Benny.
Shout out to Broncos country right there, baby.
Yeah, the pocket presence, the feet were way better. I mean, Sean said it after the game. He said this game on offense was the antithesis of last week's game, and it really was. The third downs were way more manageable. Bo was way better. The running game was way better. Everything was just so much better.
Yeah, stayed ahead of the sticks. I thought Sean did a great job of mirroring the play calls. I thought there was better rhythm and timing with everything. And I think he got, for the most part, besides the first couple drives, he got the plays to Bo early so Bo could be calm in the huddle. Here is, one of the misses from the night where you have Marvin streaking up outside the numbers. You have Evan going on the flat route to get RJ through the seam. And I thought this was just a really well executed play. Courtland will be in on a dig route. I thought it was just really well done. I thought Sean did a great job of just calling plays, and they knew. It felt like Sean was just ahead of the Bengals the entire time. Like he was like, okay, first down, they're going to play this type of coverage, and this is what we're going to get. So I think both first downs, the post to Troy Franklin, which we didn't complete, and this one, Sean just knew the type of coverage he was going to get, and he dialed up some great play calls, and I thought this was a great play call. You got Evan going on the flat route to take this defender out. Mm-hmm. You got Marvin screaming down the field, opens it up, and then you got RJ going and right up the seam. And I thought this was a really well-executed play call. I don't know who to blame on this, so you just hope that it gets executed better. I think they will practice this more. And I think R.J. Harvey, just being a young player, next time he has this opportunity, he will run a little bit faster because he was almost so open that he didn't know when the ball was coming. So
when he did stop too, or really, really slow down.
Yeah.
Which, Travis Kelce might do that too. And then we see a lot of those plays with Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's chemistry.
Yeah.
And Bo wants him running there, and he doesn't know Bo wants him running there.
But what you love about this play is you love the fact that Sean dialed up a great play and that Sean knew what he was going to get and gave Bo an opportunity to make this throw. I mean, the ball's in the air right there. RJ's looking back for the ball. Incredible play call. You want to complete that. So just off the fingertips. Maybe Bo puts it on a little bit more, or maybe RJ runs. So I'm going to put 50-50 blame on both, but have a real opportunity to have another explosive play. And I think the Broncos should have won 42-3 yesterday, just based off of some missed opportunities.
They left so much meat on the bone. And this one, last week, you kind of said the receivers needed to run faster and maybe not look back and then slow them down. I disagreed with that. This one, I actually put that on RJ. I do think that he slowed down on that one.
There you go.
And I don't think he was expecting the ball is what it kind of felt like.
I think he was expected. Well, the play is designed for him. I think it's one of those things where the first couple weeks, these plays that have been designed haven't necessarily been working. So you're kind of questioning as a player in your mind, like, all right, is this actually going to be open? You were actually wide open.
Yeah.
So I think, no substitute for experience. He's a young kid. This is something that I loved that we got a chance to see last night, which is the cheat motion that these other teams have been using. They've been basically timing up the snap count and getting a head start on the defense. And this is what I mean. So the ball is just about to be snapped, and Troy is getting ready to go upfield. Now, with his type of speed, it's going to be hard for a defender to keep up with him, number one, but then also know where he's going. So I love that Sean put the cheat motion in this week, and I hope he continues to use it throughout the season. The Green Bay Packers are using it. San Francisco's using it. Mike McDaniel, he started using it in Miami a couple years ago. In this motion, Marvin has the over route to clear out. This is cover 3. Troy is going to go out on a burst and then run a dig route, runs a great route. And just the timing. Number one, this is a hard throw for any quarterback to make. Throwing digs over the middle of the field, that's a hard thing to do. I love the fact that Sean and Bo are aggressive. Bo is not a dink and duck quarterback. He was throwing the ball down the field, and that's something that's super positive that you love to see. Justin Fields is a great athlete, but he dinks and ducks and then tries to beat you with his legs. Mm-hmm. Bo stood in the pocket yesterday and delivered this ball. I mean, look at this. Troy's coming out of the break. Ball's right here. Troy is coming flat, which all receivers should do. Quarterback friendly. You love to see that. And rhythm and timing. That is what you love to see. That is what it looks like. Bo's got a clean pocket to throw, and Troy ends up making a big catch. And here's a third down. I think it was 3rd and 2. You got all go special. I would love to see Evan take this route a little bit higher here. He goes a little bit too flat across the field, but you got all go. Courtland does a great job of getting to his landmark, and Bo puts on a dime. It's hard to throw seam routes. Tom Brady was a great seam thrower. Drew Brees was a great seam thrower. It's hard to throw seam routes, and it's very scary to throw seam routes, especially when you have somebody in the middle of the field. But I thought Bo did an incredible job. Courtland gets to his landmark. Landmarks and spacing are super important in this offense. Timing is super important. Courtland gets to his landmark outside the numbers, which keeps him away from this safety. And then Courtland is able to bend it in. Now he has enough timing and spacing, which helps Bo throw this ball. And then you love to see that. You love to see a touchdown. He scared us a little bit with the way he landed, but you love to see this. Touchdowns is the most important thing. So that's the inside scoop. I thought the Broncos played really well, 28-3. Bo over 300 yards passing. You had the run game attack. So shout out to the Broncos offense. Now you got to carry that over.
And shout out to Bennie Fowler for breaking down the inside scoop better than anyone. And let's just continue to break down this game after I give a shout out to our friends over at Shady Rays. First day of October is tomorrow, and the sun's not going anywhere, meaning you need to make sure you're hanging on to your Shady Rays. And if you don't have Shady Rays, use the code DNVR over at shadyrays.com. And they're going to give you 35% off polarized sunglasses, which are already very affordably priced. I love Shady Rays because they've got a style for everyone. They've got different colors for whatever you want. And they also are already affordable. And then they're giving you 35% off when you use the code DNVR over at shadyrays.com. They have over 300,000 5-star reviews. We love Shady Rays. But you can also just take the word of the masses with those 300,000 5-star reviews, and they've got an incredible return policy. They have your back, so you don't have to worry about your sunglasses not lasting or getting lost. They're going to have your back. So go to shadyrays.com, use that code DNVR for 35% off polarized sunglasses.
And shout out to Taco Bell. Taco Bell's the best. I had it Saturday. The 8:15 kickoff up in Montana was really late, And it meant that after the game, I needed a burrito and several tacos. And Taco Bell's, I mean, that's the only thought. You never even consider somewhere else. Right now, like we saw, they have the new Cantina chicken menu. It's a new era of chicken, as they say. It's not your parents' poultry. They debut a new flavorful chicken. It's slow roasted, perfectly seasoned. All sorts of spices in there with it that they cook it with. Garlic, which I'm a fan of. Onions, becoming a very big fan of. Actually, very recently it's happening. And a variety of chilies. Yeah, big onion guy.
Welcome to the club.
Especially in like the tuna fish. I've been eating a lot of it. You put some onions in there, it really makes it pop. Also in the chicken.
Yes.
With a variety of chilies, which if you live in Colorado, you love those too. All sorts of different stuff. We don't need to talk through every ingredient, but it's really the best. It's super fresh and sharp. Adds a new dynamic, I think, to Taco Bell. So get yours today at your nearest Taco Bell. Don't forget to add on your $7 Buffs box featuring 4 Taco Bell classics and a large drink and CU Buff player collectible cups. Taco Bell is a proud sponsor of CU Athletics. We'll be donating $1,000 to Golden Buffalo's Scholarship Foundation for every CU touchdown scored. Buffs love the bell.
And shout out to our presenting sponsor, Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. We appreciate them being our presenting sponsor. We appreciate everyone in the Toyota chat. We appreciate Bennie doing the inside scoop. It's a quick turnaround after the game to this morning. And so you can show your support for Bennie, for us, by just hitting us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. You can join the supporters club as well to get exclusive videos if you get to that Hall of Fame level. We appreciate everyone's love and support. But please do at least hit us with a thumbs up. That helps us a lot. Okay, fellas, the headline of this show. Did the Broncos fix their issues on offense in the game on Monday night? How confident are you that, boom, everything's good?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably say I'm a 7 in terms of confidence. I think they did what they were supposed to do. I think they executed at a high level. I think we were talking about it offline. If Joe Burrow was out there, that defense is still out there. So that was the defense that Cincinnati was going to have regardless. So I think the Broncos played extremely well. I think they could have scored more points, but I'm happy about Bo's feet, his rhythm, his timing, his rapport with his receivers and tight ends and running backs. I love the personnels, and I love the fact that Sean let the running backs go series for series. Talking about JK gets a series, RJ gets a series, so they could have better rhythm and timing in terms of running and finding different lanes in the running game. But we still got to clean up some things. And I'm thinking more of the penalties. Penalties have to be cleaned up. And then we want those explosives. We want that RJ Harvey catch. We want the Troy Franklin post / seam down the middle. Those are the things that we want, because those are the things, and those are the types of explosives that will beat the Eagles. We'll beat those teams. We'll beat the Kansas Cities. So 7 out of 10, but trending in the right direction. And I think if you look at the last 3 weeks, Colts, you played some really solid football for about 3.5 quarters. Chargers didn't look that great, but there were missed opportunities. So things and scheme are working. And now against the Bengals, you put it all together. So trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Bennie. Very confident about the Broncos. If I were to tell you all the stats from yesterday, like the Broncos having 320 passing yards and 189 running yards, and the Broncos threw the ball 40 times and they ran the ball 38 times and they had 29 first downs, you would say the Broncos just had a perfect game. I mean, that is like as good as you could have it on the offensive side of the ball. You would probably expect a little more than 28 points still for like a perfect game, for having the most yards in a Broncos game.
How many points were scored in that Arizona game? Because it's the most yards since that Arizona game in 2014.
It was in the 40s.
In the 40s. Yeah, so
I don't remember the exact amount, but that's exactly it. Like there was still just a little something left, and it's because the Broncos' first drive, they didn't score. They punted. Then they went like 3 straight touchdowns, and you're like, holy cow, they are going to put up 45 points, 48. Maybe they get to the first 50-point game since the Manning era. And then things really, really, really slowed down. I mean, they did nothing in the third quarter. And when you look at the nuances, it wasn't perfect, because at the end of the game, it ended up being 40 passes to 38 runs. But that really picked up in the fourth quarter when they just started running the ball to kind of burn clock out so that everyone could get home and start to move on to Philadelphia. So I really do like it, but there's still things to get better on. And honestly, that might be the most encouraging thing, is we saw what the formula is on a macro scale. On a micro scale, there's still a lot of things that can be cleaned up. Troy Franklin, 2 huge drops. If he has those against the Eagles, that could very well be the difference between a win and a loss.
He's going to catch those against the Eagles.
And I hope you're right, but it's just those little things. And then also going like a quarter where you don't score, you can't have that when you play the Eagles in Philadelphia, when you play the Bills in the playoffs in January. And saying all of that, the Broncos offense looked great. So yeah, I'm at a 7 out of 10. Maybe even an 8 out of 10, because now we know the formula. And man, if it was as simple as we're just going to give each running back a whole series, well, they unlocked it in week 4, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say why they slowed down in the second half. Because it isn't just like, well, it happened. I mean, so the first drive, they stumbled. But then the second drive, you wind up with a 15-yard penalty that kills the drive. So that was the second and final drive of the third quarter. They get the ball back in the fourth quarter, or this is kind of fringe of the quarters, and they have a 10-yard penalty, sets up a 1st and 19, get another penalty that pushes it back to a 1st and 24, and that kills that drive. So when you look at it, if you don't count the kneel downs, they have 4 drives in the second half. 2 of them were killed by penalties. 1 of them was the touchdown, and the other 5 plays, 14 yards. Occasionally it happens.
Yeah, no, when I hear that, that's 3 bad drives.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, no, it's horrible. It's horrible. But that's why I'm concerned, is because it's the same reasons that drives were ending before. That's not gone.
Penalties. 7
absolutely.
penalties, 72 yards.
Yeah, totally. And so those penalties are still killing drives, and it's not happening as often, but those need to go away. Like, you haven't solved that issue yet. And I think, to me, all season, the penalties are the number one issue. So I can't really say they've solved their problem when that problem was why they did slow down in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it's very fair. The week before, 10 penalties for 90 yards. You look at the Chargers in that game, they had 3 penalties for like 30 yards or 20 yards or something. That was the difference in the game right there. And thank goodness that you played the Bengals. Even if you didn't, I mean, if you don't have those penalties, maybe then you do get to the 40 points. Obviously, the interception at the end of the half, that was head scratching in every single way by Bo.
You don't want that, but at the same time, quarterbacks throw picks. Tom Brady threw picks.
And
Peyton Manning threw picks.
That one you can't have though, like run it in. I mean, he had the run.
He had the run.
So run it in. But what you can't do is throw the pick, literally, because then if you throw the pick, then they get the ball at the 20. If you don't throw the pick, then you set yourself up for a potential safety or at least really bad field position.
Don't take his aggressiveness away.
Yeah.
What?
Don't take his aggressiveness away. He was playing confident.
No, that was a bad
and
one.
picks don't snowball for Bo. He doesn't overthink things. So, look, of course you don't want turnovers, but like, look at all the best quarterbacks in the league. Ever,
but
ever.
You have to know that's a 19-yard flip right there. If you throw the interception.
To me, that's a small one. Because I think typically you throw an interception, it means you don't get the opportunity to have the 50-yard punt, And so in terms of all the interceptions, it's 4th down. Like, I get you'd love to have him pinned back there.
Yes,
It's like a 19-yard penalty instead of a 50-yard penalty that you'd get on most interceptions. I prefer giving a guy a chance to throwing it out of bounds there, and it's 4th down. You're losing the ball if you don't make a play anyway.
One quick thing in the Toyota chat, Luke Wattenberg was brought up. He had a tough game in terms of the penalties. He had 5 penalties called on him. 3 were accepted, so almost half the penalties on the Broncos were him. That's got to clean up. Regardless of who you are,
He'll clean it up.
And I'm confident, but that is something that has to be cleaned up. One player cannot be getting 5 penalties called on them. Okay, before we get out of here, let's get to a super chat that we've got from our friend Spencer, who is a member of the Supporters Club, says, what? Oh, he says, do you guys have a fantasy league going? If so, how's that going? Also, I just received my Die Hard card in the mail. What can I use that for? #BoLeave. There is a fantasy football league in the DNVR office. Henry, are you part of it?
No, I'm out of fantasy football. I've retired. Do you play fantasy, Benny?
I don't. My wife's playing it right now.
Okay.
And it's ruining football for her.
Yeah, I bet. It's not fun to me.
Yeah.
She have like Malik Neighbors on her team.
No, she
a bunch of these
had
guys that are
Jaden
getting injured.
Daniels, Caleb Williams, but like she's going through like who to start, who not to start, who to play, and she's like, this is her first year doing it. She's like, she's done
Last year.
because she's like, watching the games, I keep looking at this score to
Right.
see how I'm doing in fantasy.
Yep.
I'm yelling at the TV.
Yep. I totally feel that. Spencer, I hope your fantasy team's going well. One thing that I know, Yahir's is going well? Oh, no. Yahir's 1 and 2, which isn't even possible 4 weeks into a season. So
3 now.
1 and 3 now. So, yeah, it's going that
I have
bad for
Jamar
him.
Chase. PS2 did not help me
That's
out.
going to do it for us tonight. Yeah, Pat absolutely shut Jamar down. Riley shut T down. That's going to do it for us today. We're going to shut this one down. We'll be back tomorrow. We got to turn the page quick to the Eagles. Shout out to Bennie for rocking and rolling with us today. Shout out to Henry. Shout out to you here. And shout out to everyone tuning in. His with a thumbs up on the way out. We'll see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.